seeks to sell its securities for the first time to the public at large, not just to in private transaction or in isolated sales. That is, once the sale is made, these shares are open and out on the public and can be freely traded between individuals. So this is a detailed, complicated process that requires registration with the Securities and Exchange Commission, in-depth disclosure to the public at large. What is the process for carrying it out? Normally starts with pairing with an underwriter or going into the underwriting process. This is where you contract with an investment bank to help with the process of creating awareness and establishing sales of these issued securities to larger institutional investors who will subsequently resell these or put these into the portfolios of their client investors. Now, the underwriting process is not mandatory. That is, a company can go directly offer its securities for sale to the public without going through an investment bank and underwriter to sell to institutional investors. But this is normally done by smaller companies that deal with what we call penny stocks or small initial issuance value stocks. And it avoids the underwriter process, but you generally still go through some sort of broker to handle this process for you. But in the underwriting process, the investment bank can be very valuable because they have the industry connections, because they have the size and knowledge to create awareness for this security, to gauge investor interest, and to put together a pool of potential investors to purchase the initial share of securities. And there are a number of ways that the underwriter benefits. It can be paid, it can receive a percentage of the offering or issuance, et cetera. So that's the first step. The next step is going through the full registration process, and that's the filing of documents with the Securities and Exchange Commission and complying with all of their disclosure requirements. This can be very costly and time-consuming. Companies hire professionals to create the disclosure documents and to make sure everything is in compliance. It requires lots of financial evaluation, disclosure of past transactions, forward-looking statements, et cetera, to meet the requirements of what the SEC deems to be adequate disclosure. And then once that process is complete, while it is possible for some issuers to solicit interest ahead of time, once the registration process is complete, the company can begin selling securities to purchasers. But generally, there's strict limits on the ability to offer, to sell, or to solicit buyers of securities prior to the registration process being completed.